I was starting to wonder if there was a drug test problem. He failed that, gone quiet, and he's just like, I don't know, waiting for some kind of announcement. I was asked to fight, what's his name?
Oh, the Scouser, Darren Till.
Yeah, Darren Till.
That's right, yeah.
And then potentially Tommy Fury.
Yeah.
And then potentially build up to the Jake Paul fight. But, well, when he retired, I wasn't sure if it was real. And the longer his retirement goes on, the less likely I think it is that he's going to come out of retirement.
All right, what's up, guys? It's your boy Owen here for Fight Lens and Sporting Talk. We're back in Nottingham with the Cobra, Carl Froch. It's been a while. I think November was the last time, but we're back the day after Mother's Day. So shout out to all the mothers and the MILFs. Carl, how have you been?
You just seen my missus upstairs and I was trying to wind me up. He's trolling. I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Have a good Christmas and New Year and that.
Yeah. God, seems like a while ago now.
Yeah, it was.
But
a while ago,
yeah,
right?
you're heading off to the sunny Spain next week.
Good Spain for a bit, yeah. A couple of weeks while the kids are off school.
Yeah, sounds nice.
A bit boring in England, isn't it? The weather's nice though.
Yeah, weather's
I've
nice.
checked the weather forecast for Spain. It's raining for a couple of days when we get there. A bit cloudy.
Okay.
I'm going to go over to Gibraltar.
Yeah?
Yeah, spend some
the
English
Rock.
pound notes.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great out there. Yeah, it's nice.
You've got the, not orangutans, are they? What are
No, monkeys. Little
monkeys,
they're awesome now.
Yeah, they'll come and nick your ice cream.
I don't think I'm going to go up the mountain and do all the monkey thing. Did it last time I was there. You get in a car and you get a little tour around.
Okay.
Tip the driver and he looks after you and then he lets you give the monkeys a few bits of food and that, gets them on your arms and your head and that. Because they know the monkeys really well.
Yeah.
And the kids did all that last year and it's like, one of them was on me because I was giving them some like chocolate peanuts. And this monkey was on me, like following me. And I was like, okay, I'll leave it. I ended up just dashing the food and going the other way.
Yeah.
It can be scary, them monkeys, you know, if they start on you.
They're strong, aren't they?
You're not allowed to touch them.
Okay.
Even if you try and stroke them, it's like, leave them alone because they don't like it. But no, I've done all that, so I'm just going to go and have something to eat, have a little look around Gibraltar and go in. There's loads of jewellery shops there and loads of...
I've been for ages.
Yeah, it's good fun.
It's decent.
It is good.
Let's give a shout out to Nottingham Forest first of all, because they're in the FA Cup semi-final now. They knocked out Brighton on penalties, so they'll be playing at Wembley. You going to go down? You fancy that?
I think I'm going to have to, aren't I? Because
big
FA
day out.
Cup, big day out. We're doing well. We're top of the league. Well, we're top three.
Third, yeah. So Champions League potentially next season for Forest.
Yeah, potentially. What is it? The top three or top four?
Top four and potentially the fifth if they win the playoffs. So
That'd be awesome.
it's looking good for the
'cause
Forest.
last season we was hanging on the edge of the cliff of our fingernails.
Yeah.
And now we're managing to. Yeah, we're doing all right.
Look at the difference.
Good for the city as well to have a Premier League team. Brings a bit of money into the city.
And if they get in the Champions League, we'll be playing the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid. So
exactly. Yeah, that'll be good.
Get down to Wembley. We'll see you down in London for that.
100%.
Boxing wise, what's been going on in the world of boxing?
There's not much been happening.
We're kind of building towards the fights at the moment, aren't we?
The only things we're looking forward to really is Eubank Jr and Conor Benn. Another controversy with the egg slap. It was quite funny and entertaining, wasn't it? And I'm not going to say justified, but you can see why Chris Eubank did it. Yeah. And it was quite a good promotional ploy. Actually, I had a chat with Conor Benn a couple of weeks ago.
You did, didn't you? Yeah. How did that go?
It was good.
Did you get an insight into his psychology? Because he seems
not really. I did a friendly 12 rounds with him.
Okay.
And it was filmed by DAZN. So you can imagine there's a few parameters, and I don't like parameters, especially when I'm talking. I like to say it how it is. Ask the right questions, but I just thought there's an opportunity here to interview Conor Benn, get a different side to him out there, because I think he's been hard done to. He failed the drugs test, and he must hate it every time someone just says what I've just said, but he did, and that's all people are hanging on to. And Chris Eubank Jr has really opened it up, and he's opened up the wound again. It's been 2 years since he's really been able to. He's not had a British Boxing Board of Control licence. He's had a couple of fights stateside, but he's not been able to get going with his career.
No, it's been stalled,
so hopefully after this Chris Eubank Jr fight, which is happening in a couple of weeks, it's April. Is it April or May?
April 28th.
Something else happening May 10th, isn't it? I'm looking forward to. I think it might be the rematch between Benn Whittaker.
That's right. Yeah, and Liam Cameron.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one as well. But no, the Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight, looking forward to that. There's not really a great deal happening in the heavyweight scene. Looking at, Daniel Dubois has gone very quiet. I went to an awards in London the other day and I thought, I'll go down there because I might get an interview with Dubois. Wayne Rooney was there, Eubank Sr. I managed to speak to Hatton and Joe Gallagher, which are two good gets really, but I wanted to get stuck into Dubois.
He's in hiding.
He didn't even turn up.
No, he finally put out a kind of video on his Instagram where it kind of looked like he was being held hostage. He blinked about twice in 2 minutes. Really? So, but yeah, he said, I'm back now. I'm ready for Usyk. I'm ready for AJ. I'm ready for
I was starting to wonder if there was a drug test problem. He failed that, gone quiet, and he's just like, I don't know, waiting for some kind of announcement. Because I always think that. Why would you go quiet?
Yeah.
After pulling out of a fight like that, was a great fight with Parker. Yeah. That would have been good. It would have been a good win for him if he'd have got the win.
Massive.
And then Parker, what did Parker fight?
He fought, It's the guy who knocks everyone out in training,
Having a
in
mind
sparring.
blank, aren't
It's, we've forgotten his name.
We're going to have to edit this back, aren't we?
Yeah.
Who did you fight?
No, not Coley.
Bacole.
But Martin Bacole, that's right.
Martin Bacole.
The king of
because
sparring.
we don't hear much of him, but no, he's a dangerous, a danger man.
But he turned up massively overweight, didn't he? To be
Took
fair.
it over and right at the top of the head.
Yeah.
Legs turned to jelly, gone, done.
That's right.
It was a good win for Parker.
Yeah.
But everyone said he flew in late notice, whatever. But Daniel Dubois, where is he? What's happening?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Who's he going to fight next? Is he going to fight Joe Parker eventually? He has to, doesn't he?
I think Parker's IBF mandatory. And I think the big fight's going to be Dubois against Usyk.
Well, yeah, I think Derek Chisora is weirdly
Chisora's mandatory for...
Yeah. For Dubois.
For Dubois, sorry.
We
Yeah,
don't want to see that, really, though, do we?
Has he IBF number one?
Yeah, Chisora. I don't know how.
And that's a dangerous fight against Daniel Dubois. Chisora does not want to be jumping in.
No.
With Dubois
at
this stage of his career.
50th fight of his career. No, it could end badly, couldn't it? We don't want to see that.
Getting his head caved in.
But DIllian Whyte pulled out of his fight with a cut finger.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be fighting Joyce, wasn't he?
I don't know how serious he's about boxing now, DIllian Whyte. Decent fight, had a decent little career, fought AJ, then he got done. Come back, had a couple of close fights, fought Chisora, had a couple of good wins, he beat Parker.
Still dangerous on his day, isn't he?
Dangerous, but I just think it's getting a bit older, a bit slower, a bit of weight around him, the ambition and desire. I'm not sure about DIllian Whyte. And I like him as a fighter, I think he's a good addition to the heavyweights. But unless he's 100% committed and wanting it and got that desire in his head and he really believes in himself.
Yeah.
I just think it's just a plod and a bit of a...
His career's stalled, hasn't it?
Yeah,
he
big
failed
time.
the drug test, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he exactly had the drug test. He made a few quid, got a bit of money in the bank, and sometimes you get a bit of money in the bank, your head goes a little bit, you think, oh, I've done it, I've done what I need to do. You take a back seat, start spending a few quid, and think, oh, hang on a minute, I'm running out of money here, I need to fight again. I feel like he's not a fully 100% committed boxer. I think the same with Chris Eubank Jr. But fair play to Chris. He knows how to store things and hang around and do what he's doing to make the maximum money.
Keep his stock high.
He knows how to make money. And with his dad in the name, he'll always be big. And he's certainly maximised it with the Conor Benn stuff. But we're jumping around subjects here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not much happening in boxing other than...
Joe Joyce and Hrgovic this weekend.
I think Joe Joyce should retire. Hrgovic probably punch his head in, but Joe Joyce might just beat him if you don't get chinned. Yeah. It's quite an interesting fight. But
it could be interesting. Hrgovic didn't look that good against Dubois, did he? But he said he wasn't feeling 100%, he was feeling ill, but this could be just excuses.
Well, Joe Joyce, for me, has always been a good fighter in terms of he's just fit and strong and ruthless. And he's got that ring name under the Juggernaut. And the Juggernaut just keeps going forward, plods along, and you can't stop it because it's big and heavy and it just walks through fucking walls.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done. But as soon as he got hurt by Zhang, it showed a side of him that actually he's got a bit of fragility around his chin. His biggest asset was the ability to take a punch and his fitness. And when you start getting it on the chin and lying down and going to sleep, you say to yourself, well, that's the end of it now. He's 37, 38 years old. So he's about fucked. And when he talks, I know he's not the most vibrant, sort of enthusiastic talker, but there's moments in there where you're saying, hang on a minute, you should be speaking now, mate. So what's going off up there? Yeah. What's wrong there where you're not speaking?
It's the early
and people are saying, oh, CTE. And I don't want to put that on any boxer and say, oh, you've got brain damage. But unfortunately, that is potential serious injuries from taking repetitive blows to the head. And he got knocked out a couple of times and hurt badly. And he does get punched in the head a lot. That's his main fucking attribute, his ability to take a punch. And people say that's the same about me. But I won a couple of ABA titles. I won a medal in the World Championships. I boxed to a flawless victory against a few fighters over 12 rounds without getting hit, boxing and moving, slipping and sliding. But when I had to, when I knew I was outskilled and outbeat by speed by a Durrell or an Andre Ward or even a Kessler who could match me for skill, then you've got to switch it and say, right, I've got to stand in front of this guy now and I've got to take one to give one. And I'll have a fight Roberto Duran style. Roberto Duran would box and move and be slick on it. I've never had his ability. I'm not putting myself in his category. But people think of Roberto Duran and think of him as a warmonger coming forward, big shots, just chin in the air, having a swing up. But he was so skillful, such a talented fighter. He beat Sugar Ray Leonard. He lost the rematch, but in the first fight, Leonard fought Duran's fight, stood in the pocket and had a fight with him. And in the rematch, Leonard kept on his back foot, did his Sherman, used his speed and his skills. And I just think, we was talking about Joe Joyce,
Joe Joyce. Yeah, he started late, didn't he?
He's got one way on
it.
He's got one way. And his one way involves getting hit in the face a lot. And when you can't take the punch anymore, it's time to fucking hang it up and take up darts or something. Because getting punched in the head don't work for him anymore.
It's time for him to call it a day after this. Did you see KSI pulled out of his fight with Dillon Danis? I don't know if you saw that. It was a Misfits fight.
I've seen that he was fighting. I didn't know it was Dillon Danis. Has he not boxed him already?
No, it was Logan Paul fought Dylan Dennis.
Oh, was it Logan?
Okay. Yeah, so it was supposed to be KSI against Dylan Dennis. I just wondered if anyone gave you a shout about jumping in last-minute replacement.
No, I was asked to fight. What's his name?
Oh, the Scouser, Darren Till.
Yeah, Darren Till.
That's right. Yeah.
And then potentially Tommy Fury.
Yeah.
And then potentially build up to the Jake Paul fight, but.
No news on
that. I've got no interest. I'd jump straight in with that fucking wanker, Jake Paul. I'd jump in with him. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need the warm-up fights.
Listen, I'd train and have a look and think, because he's in the gym a lot. I've got to give.
He's quite big now, isn't he?
He's big. Yeah, he's a big lump.
He's been on juicing it up.
Mate, I don't know why he's covered in acne at his age.
Suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah, very suspicious.
KSI, they said his forehead gets bigger by the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar kind of reasons potentially, but no.
I don't know what the protocol is in the drug testing regime in Misfits. I don't know how it works. Apparently he's a professional boxer, fake Paul, but I don't see how. I don't see how he's a pro boxer. He's fighting a 58-year-old Mike Tyson and doing what he's done. He's done nothing.
And now he's calling out
Canelo, now Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, mental.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's not quite what he was a few years ago, but if he hit Jake Paul with right hand, he'd be fucking up for murder, wouldn't he?
He'd be 6 feet deep, yeah.
So you want to be careful what he wishes for.
Did you see Pat Brown make his professional debut this weekend? He knockout win, looked pretty good. Eddie Hearn says he's the future of British boxing. Obviously, he signed to Matchroom,
isn't he? Pat Brown?
Yeah. Cruiserweight, is he?
For some reason I know the name, but I can't.
Remember they made the big announcement when they were signing him, but he hasn't fought for, I don't know.
What did Eddie Hills say?
Eddie Hills said he's the future of British boxing, Pat Brown.
Boxing. Yeah. The ultimate salesman, Eddie Hills.
Yeah. He's being trained by Jamie Moore. You know Jamie Moore?
Jamie Moore, good trainer, good lad. He's been trained by him then, and he's got potential. I think he potentially goes somewhere, I've not seen a great deal of him, but my mind's all over the place at the minute.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for these fights that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, exactly,
There's not a great deal happening, is there? So we're looking at prospects and looking who's coming through.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Did you see any of the bare knuckle fighting championships in Manchester last weekend?
Someone get ironed out and around, bad knockout, was it?
So, yeah.
I didn't see any of it, no. I've just seen little clips and highlights after, but I don't really follow that at all.
No. You know, you used to do a bit of bare knuckle fighting yourself back in the day.
You're on about street fighting, aren't you?
Street fighting, yeah.
So it's sore, you know, when you scrap it. Try and use the elbow where you can.
Yeah.
Try and get the elbow in.
Get in there. We saw you.
Try not to hit them on the hard bit of the head. Try and go for the body or the soft part of the jaw.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, if you have to iron somebody out because there's no else you can do. Your back's against the wall. Don't want to be fighting kiddies on the streets.
No.
If there's a way to get on your toes and get out of there.
Good
advice. But if you've got no option other than to defend yourself, make sure you fucking iron them out with a right hand down the park or a left uppercut straight to the jaw.
That's the Cobra's tactic. Yeah. Bob Arum says Tyson Fury should never step in the boxing ring again, walk away from the sport entirely. Same advice.
Bob Arum?
Yeah, Bob Arum, who's 94 years old.
Well, when he retired, I wasn't sure if it was real. And the longer his retirement goes on, the less likely I think it is that he's going to come out of retirement. Or if he does come out of retirement, the more dangerous it will be. Because he does put weight on. He holds a lot of fat around his love handles and his stomach. He's not naturally athletic, but he's a big lad. He's got fast hands and he's got undeniable, gifted. He's got talent. He's got ability. But at 30, he's got to be 37, hasn't he? Getting on for his 37th birthday. And a couple of losses, not bad losses, lost to Usyk, one of the best to do it.
Still went 12 rounds in both of them, didn't he?
To come back. Yeah, I'd like to see him come back against AJ. I'd like to see that fight. I think the fans would want to see it.
Desperate to see it, please.
I think it'll always be there, but it becomes a bit of an insignificant fight after a bit. But still one that would sell and still probably fill Wembley.
Might not even see it this year, might we? Might be next year, really.
And then it's like, who wins and who cares who wins? It's just one of them where you want to watch.
Yeah.
If one of them had a title, or if it was for at least one world title, it'd be interesting. But they've both been beat.
Maybe they need to wait for Usyk to walk away and his belts can be kind of redistributed.
But it's Daniel Dubois running the show.
Yeah,
you've got
realistically,
Piccolo, you've got Jai Alpataya now coming through, and he's dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's AJ and Fury and that generation of heavyweights going to do?
I mean, think Jai Alpataya's going to move up?
Yeah, potentially. I think he will.
Okay,
yeah. I think so.
Clean out cruiserweight and then step up.
Yeah. What fighter he is, deadly, isn't he?
He is, brutal. He's got that look in his eyes, hasn't he? That killer instinct. Yeah, serious guy.
Good fighter.
Floyd Mayweather reckons Terence Crawford's the best pound for pound in the world right now. Agree or disagree?
Mayweather says Terence Crawford is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against that, but you've got to put Dimitri Bivol up there.
Bivol, yeah.
You've got to put a new A up there as well.
Is Canelo still up there for you?
Canelo Alvarez, yes, but because he's been beat, now he's just the money man, isn't he? He's the big face, the big name, the big brand of Mexico. He's the face of boxing, really, Canelo.
That's it. He's ducking Benavidez as well now.
Yeah,
he said Benavidez has accomplished nothing.
He's got beef with Benavidez, but Benavidez is a good fighter.
He is, yeah, he is. But then he's not going to go out to Saudi and fight him out there, I don't think. He's fighting, what's that guy, William Skull.
Yeah.
What's William Skull accomplished? If Benavidez accomplished nothing, then William Skull's accomplished less.
When Benavidez beat Caleb Plant, I was thinking this is going to be a tough fight for Ben. And it was in the fight. Plant's not a big puncher, but he's very skillful and slick. The guard dog's just come in.
Yeah, here he is. You can see him, I don't know.
Benji, he's watching you. Be careful. But yeah, Benavidez deserves his shot at Canelo.
Yeah.
And I think Canelo's now doubling down on not fighting him because he's pissed off of him for some reason. He said a few things, and Benavidez has. And Canelo's a bit like, why am I giving him a payday, or why am I going to fight him? I don't like him.
That's exactly it.
And he don't need to, Canelo. He can do what he wants.
Same with Demetrius Andrade, didn't he? Never gave him the shot.
No, exactly. But he's done a 4 or 5 fight deal with Turkey.
4 fight deal, yeah.
So you'd have expect Turkey to say, you know what, fight Benavidez, but maybe he's not a big enough name.
Turkey said the winner of Eubank Jr and Conor Benn will get a shot at Canelo, but what do you think about that, really? Canelo beat them both on the same night, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think that either. I mean, Conor Benn's not big enough. No way near big enough for Canelo Alvarez. I think Eubank Jr could dance with him for a few rounds, keep out his way, throw a few counter punches, but the minute Canelo gets in front of Eubank Jr after round 5, 6, gets him in a corner or against the ropes, starts unloading, then big shots, Eubank Jr will fall apart and get fucking absolutely battered.
But the payday though.
Mismatch. You get a payday, but
big payday.
You know what I mean, what's in, but I know money's important to him.
Yeah.
But it depends.
His legacy and his health.
Depends what your soul means to you.
That's true.
I've never been knocked out in my whole career. No. I've never been beat up on the street, or I've never been beat up. I've never been stopped. Been knocked down on the floor twice.
Yeah.
Got up both times to win. So for me, I don't know, it's just like the soul and looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, you know what, I'm a fucking warrior and I'm proud. And there's no wrong with getting beat. I was talking to Michael Bisping the other day and he got choked out by George St. Pierre, GSP, but he got choked out. He went to fucking sleep. And I said, well, Conor McGregor got Khabib on him and he fucking tapped out straight away to say, oh, and that's self-preservation, that's fair enough. But as a warrior, he tried to the end.
That's it.
And he got clipped with a shot. He went down. He was defending elbows, getting smashed. He was fighting back. You could see he was wobbling, but still throwing punches. And then he got tucked to the ground. He was getting choked out. And he just lay there and thought, I ain't fucking tapping out. I'm going to try and hold this off. And he tried and tried and tried. Then he went to sleep. And the referee jumped in. Yeah. And he can then look in the mirror and say, you know what, I fucking tried. I went for it.
Didn't
the minute
submit,
you quit,
never gave up. Yeah.
Or stay on the floor or stay in your corner, I don't like that. Yeah. So
how does that feel for you?
For me, getting beat, we was talking about Canelo beating, all right, you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
But if Chris Eubank Jr. say he beats Conor Benn and he gets the Canelo fight, he's going to get beat up and pasted, but he's going to get paid well. Yeah. So how do you want to go out? Do you know what I mean? If you want to go out on a loss and get battered because you've got money in your bank, then fair enough. But sometimes it's money you're not going to spend, and money you shouldn't make money your king. You want to be happy with yourself.
Yeah, shorten your lifespan as well. You know, like you see. How does it feel for you, having never been knocked out or even defeated like that?
Feels great, mate.
Does it give you like an invincibility feeling?
Listen, I had a wicked career, a really good career. That I worked for everything. My coach, Rob McCracken, did most of my matching. And then to only have one, there's only one guy I've not beaten, that's Andre Ward. And he's unbeatable. No one's ever beaten. Yeah. No one will beat him. He's retired now. I lost to Kester, but got him in the rematch. The first fight was close. Never been L-Spar code. So for me, it's like I can walk into any room full of anybody, Hall of Famers, and get the respect. I was at an event of a week and Teofimo Lopez was like, Carl Froch. Ryan Garcia was like, Froch, I love your channel. You know what I mean? Devin Haney come over to me. That's nice. I'm surrounded. Canelo Alvarez jumped out his chair and I introduced him to a good friend of mine, Sonny, and they had a chat for about 10 minutes.
That's good stuff,
and I thought, this is respect.
Yeah.
And it's nice to get that respect from my peers that are in the same business. And I'm not showing off or bragging because anyone can get chinned and knocked out, especially the heavyweights. The big boys can get ironed out and flattened. Lennox Lewis got done, didn't he, twice? Yeah. But he came back and done what he had to do. He did, but to take fights just for the money when you know you're going to get spanked, I'm like, nah, not for me. Keep your money.
No. Well, George Groves recently admitted reluctantly that you hit him with one of the hardest punches. Obviously, it's commemorated over there, but who was the hardest puncher you faced? Was it Kessler?
You know what? I've been hit with some big shots in my career. I mean, the guy that knocked out Antonio Tarver and Roy Jones Jr., which was Glencoff Johnson, I fought him. Yes, he was past his best, but the last thing to go is your punching power. I think he was 41 years old when I jumped in with him at Broadwalk Empire in America in Atlantic City. And it was about round 8 or round 9. It was humid, I was hot, I was weighed in at middleweight. I'm a super middleweight fighter, but it was that hot and humid and sweating that much. It was that close, and I was training hard because I knew I was in with weight. I was like a weight division below the day before the weigh-in, so I was eating food and drinking loads and electrolytes, trying to get my weight back up. And I was just a bit light and felt a bit flat for that fight. And he hit me with a right hand in round 7 or 8. Fucking got me on the ropes, backed me up to the ropes. Hit me with a right hand, crunched me straight on the chin. And if that wasn't good enough, he fucking lined me up and hit me with another one. Hit me with 2.
Back to back.
And the commentary went wild. I was fucking a bit all over the shop. I managed to turn him, throw 5, 6 punches, get on my back foot. So he's hit me, he's cracked me with some good shots. My jaw was fucked for about 3 weeks. He didn't break my jaw, but he did something to this part of my jaw where the pivot is, and I couldn't bite down for about 2 or 3 weeks. I had a scan on it, it was fine. It was just bruising and whatever. But Mikel Kessler hit me with a couple of big right hands. He hit me straight flush on the nose in about round 9, broke my nose, dazed me. Jesus. Fucking put me into Cloud Cuckoo land for about 4 or 5 seconds. I managed to survive the round and get him back.
You know straight away it was broken? You feel it break?
Well, a broken nose really, I mean, my nose was quite solid through my career, but because I had a split in my nose and my nose instantly swelled up either side, it definitely fractured the thing. But a lot of it's cartilage and scar tissue.
Yeah, true.
So whether it's broke or not, but when I had my nose fixed when I finished boxing, the surgeon said there's the scarring of about 6 or 7 breaks. And, you know, he said I had to break it again. I'm sorry about that, but he couldn't break my nose.
Oh, you couldn't break
my
it?
nose. No, because I had an old surgeon. Because the new way to fix a nose is to slice the bottom of your nostrils, they peel your nose off your face, and then they can see all the anatomy of the nose. They can see it all, and then they can file away and work away at it. Nice. And I saw a video on that, and I was like, I'm not having that done. No chance.
That sounds awful.
So I had the old school method, where the surgeon comes into the room with a hammer, a chisel, and a file. He's got 3 tools.
It sounds like medieval torture.
Obviously proper little, but he's got this blunt instrument chisel, which he shoves up your nose, inside your nostril, and he goes inside from the back end of your nose and breaks it. Wow. And he says, I went up that nostril, smacked it with the hammer, and it didn't break, but it blacked your eye and closed your eye. Because he made a right mess of my face. He said, then I tried from the other side, and that was no better than your other eye closed. He said, so there's nothing else I could do. So I went from the top of the nose and tapped it a few times. Took about 3 goes, he said, but then he shattered my nose. Wow. But then he could reset it, file it down, make it look a bit prettier, and sort it out.
Yeah, then the NHS.
No NHS.
It sounds like an NHS.
It should have been. He might have taxed the bloody page. You think I'd have been in the front, but mate, I go private. I've had 5 operations. All of them were private. But you want the best surgeon.
Yeah,
you want to pick the best surgeon.
We're joking aside, but yeah.
But no, I had there was 2 surgeons as well. I'm going to talk about my nose job if you want. But the second surgeon was the anatomist. So he sorted out the turbinines, the septum, the adenoids, removed them. So I had a big job. I was like under knife for about 4 hours under anaesthetic. Jesus, I can breathe now, and I look beautiful. Look at that side profile. Look at it. It's beautiful, isn't it? I look like a pelican. I look like a pelican when I retired.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
But no, it's worth doing. But I don't know why we were talking about my nose. Talking about surgery, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Yeah. We were talking about your ACL earlier as well.
ACL. We're talking about bare knuckle fighting.
That's it, bare knuckle fighting.
Deadly, isn't it? I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, it is what it is. They've got their hand wrapped.
Conor McGregor's involved in it as well now, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he promotes it now.
That's right. Yeah, and also Tom Aspinall was talking about Dana White's boxing league. You heard about Dana White's boxing league?
Yeah, I certainly have.
He reckons it's dangerous because obviously it's less weight division, so potentially fighters will have to cut more weight, and then.
Yeah, he's right. I was thinking like if you're going to just have a lightweight or a featherweight, maybe a lightweight, a middleweight, and a heavyweight, 3 or 4 divisions. Like if I take me for example, I was too big for middleweight. Couldn't do 11 stone 6. If I did, I was dead. And I wasn't big enough for light heavyweight, 175 pounds. Right. The light heavyweight fighters were like Tony Bellew, he was light heavyweight for a bit. David Hay was a light heavyweight amateur. So if you're like me, the opportunity to become a world champion is very narrow because you've either got to drop down to middleweight, so you're dead on the scales. So after 5-6 rounds, you're just exhausted. Or go up to light heavyweight and potentially get ironed out. So I'd have had to go up to light heavyweight, put some muscle on, build a bit of muscle, but I'd have been a different fighter.
Would have been your natural.
And then can I take the punches from a big light heavyweight? I could take shots at the super middle. Who knows if I'd have done well at light heavyweight? I used to spar light heavyweights all the time. It just makes it. It's dangerous. It's just potentially dangerous. That's the problem with the league. If they change the divisions and cut out some of the super divisions like super lightweight, super featherweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight, all them divisions, if they go cruiserweight, then it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. There's still I don't know if it's actually going to come into practice next year or when it's beginning, but we'll wait and see.
It'll be a slow burn, and when it does start, it will take time to build. I think there's fighters that are around now, the generation fighters now, the big boys, the big payers, the ones that are getting paid well, like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia's coming back. Canelo Alvarez, I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia's fighting again soon, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
All the top boys in each division, they're going to be like, why am I fighting in a league? But if you're into boxing, you just got into it and you're building up, and you're going to get paid a guaranteed wage, and you're going to fight guaranteed 3, 4, maybe 6 times a year. You're going to say, well, I've got 6 fights here. I'm going to earn 100 grand or 200 grand, whatever it is. Then you're looking at that saying, yeah, I'll have a go at that.
Use it as a springboard.
Potentially, but I don't know how it's difficult because a lot of the UFC fighters don't get paid mega money. But then you look at Conor McGregor and he earned hundreds of millions. You know what I mean?
He's a special case, isn't he? He's an outlier.
Tom Aspinall, you talk about him, he's not getting his chance, is there?
No.
He wants to fight John Jones, and John Jones is like freezing him out and saying, I'm not fighting him.
John Jones says, what's it going to do for my career to fight you?
Yeah. And I don't want to say he loses to John Jones, but I interviewed Michael Bisping on Froch on Fighting, the best channel in the business. Get a look at that. And Bisping said Tom Aspinall is probably one of the best fighters of all time. And I thought, well, he's not really, he's an interim heavyweight champ.
Yeah, he's
but
feared.
Just from what he's seen and what he's done, he's saying, no, he's a striker, he's good on the floor, he's big. And him, I think Bisping against, not Bisping, Aspinall against John Jones. I think he's probably too big for John Jones. It's a fight I'd love to see, but John Jones is getting old. But he's fucking tough, hard as nails. Got so much respect for him. Top.
Aspinall just knocks everyone out so quickly, though, doesn't he?
And wouldn't it be great to see someone like that who's fucking all-time great against John Jones against an Aspinall, just to see. But we're probably not going to see it.
No. Well, UFC won't pay him enough to make it worth his while. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
And if you're Tom Aspinall, you're sitting back pissed off, aren't you?
Yeah. You can see. I interviewed
and the
UFC
UFC is supposed to be designed and structured so the fights happen. And if this fight don't happen, well, it's like your system ain't working.
It's not working properly, is it?
I mean,
Deontay Wilder back in action, would you believe? He's not walking away from boxing. He's fighting in June against a guy called Terrell Herndon, who's won 24 and lost 5. So I'm not sure what that says about Deontay Wilder. He's not really ever going to come back to the top level.
I don't know what Deontay Wilder's doing, to be honest. Ferocious puncher in his day. Quite tall and skinny and spindly, 15 stone. I've stood next to him. He's tall, but my big brother's 6'2", about 16 stone.
Big Lee.
Big Lee.
Shout out to Big Lee.
The renovator. And I was looking at him, and then, not my brother, my Deontay Wilder, I was looking at him going, I was like sizing him up. Because sometimes you stand next to people, like I stood next to Vladimir Klitschko, and I thought, fucking hell, what a unit. You stand next to Anthony Joshua, and his fucking arms are bigger than your legs.
I can imagine.
And you just think, and like even Mike Tyson's only 5'10", but he's that fucking wide.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
His shoulders like
and you just think, he's getting that body rotation behind them hooks, hitting you on the head, and you're decapitated, and your head's flying off to fucking somewhere north, and you're thinking, oh dear, that hurt. Like, it's a mismatch. But you look at Deontay Wilder, he's tall, he's gangly, he's skinny, he's got skinny legs.
His legs are skinny,
he doesn't generate much power, but he's got natural technique for that punch power. He just turns his, a bit like Julian Jackson, who was a light middleweight, who used to knock everybody out with a fucking left hook or right hand. Just natural raw power. Prince Naseem Ahmed was like that at featherweight. Could just punch hard. And I mean, Wayne Alexander, a former British light middleweight champion, used to spar with. Just natural power. Deontay Wilder's natural power is gone. And at heavyweight, if you can't punch when you're only 15 stone, 15 and a half stone, and your punch power's gone, and your punch resistance is gone, you're getting in the ring knowing you're getting L fucking spar code. You're getting ironed out.
He must need the money then.
So it's like, why are you still fighting?
Yeah.
So you say, does he need the money? And if he does, it's a shame really, because he's been involved in some big fights. So that trilogy with Tyson Fury, he would have got paid well.
Yeah.
So let's hope he
never got the AJ fight that he wanted, did he? He was chasing AJ for years.
Yeah.
To get that payday, never got it. So maybe that's where he's coming from. We get a quick Liam Cameron, Benn Whittaker rematch prediction off you then?
Looking forward to that. Prediction, I would expect Benn Whittaker to really focus, knuckle down, hone in on his skill set and think, right, showboating out the window.
Yeah.
Let's get behind that jab. Let's get the job done.
He won't be underestimating Liam Cameron this time, will he?
Whether he underestimated him before, I don't know if he did. He would have put the work in, put the training in, and now he goes into the ring a bit unsure because he went over that top rope, damaged his ankle. We've got to accept that he damaged his ankle. He went off in a wheelchair, and we've never seen any receipts to the injury. Not seen scans or anything to say it was genuine. It looked like he made a way out. It looked like he quit. He's getting a lot of shit off the fans. Liam Cameron now, he's got more notice. He's going to believe in himself. He's going to think, okay, 2 or 3 rounds, I'm in trouble a bit because the speed and the skill of Whittaker. But after round 4 or 5, when every single fighter, including Floyd Mayweather, slows down a little bit, starts to get a bit flat-footed, and it starts calming down a little bit. You've got to stand in front of your opponent and start fucking having a fight.
Yeah.
That's why pro boxing is different to amateur boxing.
Yeah.
Because in the amateurs, you can get on your toes, jab, move, and you can win a gold medal. But when you get in that pro ring, half an hour, mate, half an hour of fighting is hard.
Yeah.
And you might be all right for the first 5, 6 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds. But then when that, don't matter how fit you are either.
Yeah,
you've only got one set of lungs, and you know what I mean? You've got skeletal muscle like everyone else, and the oxygen gets swallowed up, and you get tired. And when you get tired, like Benn Whittaker starts to lose that bounce in his step, and Cameron's coming forward and body shots, drilling him, and looking at him, and getting his head on his chest.
He'll have to dig deep.
It's going to be a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I would say Benn Whittaker's still the favourite, but Liam Cameron, if he comes and he means business and he digs his heels in, bites down like gumshoe, which I know he's going to, this could be an upset for Benn Whittaker. But it's a great fight, especially say it's a domestic fight.
Domestic dust
and Benn Whittaker.
It's not out in Saudi this time.
So over here now. So Benn Whittaker's got himself involved in a little domestic dust up here that he probably don't want to fucking be in.
No.
But if you don't give him the rematch, everyone's going to go shit house. Do you know what I mean? He's never going to live it down.
He's got to shut people up
so
now.
He's got to fight and he's got to fucking do the business.
Yeah, it's one to look
good
forward
for the fans,
to.
isn't it?
For sure. Got a few questions here on behalf of Crown's Gym, one of the best gyms in South East. It's your first day stepping in the gym. Talk us through what your feelings were and your emotions. How did it look? How did it smell? Can you remember it? Is it stuck in your mind?
Well, as a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, yeah.
I loved it. I loved the smell. I could smell the sweat on the gloves, like the gloves you borrow.
How old were you?
And you take your gloves off and your hands stink, but it's like a nice smell where you go back to it and you go, oh yeah, them gloves, and that smell triggers the excitement of boxing on the bags and sparring, which I used to enjoy. But I remember I used to play rugby at the Mellish Rugby Club at the top of Mappy Top, about 2 miles from here. Sunday morning, freezing my fucking nuts off. I was only 5'2" when I left school. 5'2", really? Quite skinny, light. I used to get fucking hammered. I used to get the ball and run and try and have a go. But I used to get took out by the big boys. Fucking took out, big rugby tackles down, my back, my ribs. And it was freezing cold. And I thought, what am I doing here? I did it for about 5 or 6 months, rugby. I stuck with it and then just thought, this is horrible. Then when I started going boxing, I was boxing from like 8, 9 years old. But I played rugby as well. And then I stopped doing rugby. And then I used to go in the gym and you're indoors. And in winter, the heating's on and the lights are on.
Yeah, that's true.
And the bag, the red bag and the colours and the boxing ring. And you're inside, it's nice and warm. You're just hitting the bag and punching away, you get sweat on. And I was always good at hitting and not getting hit and being a bit elusive. So boxing for me was something that I took to immediately. Probably because I hated rugby that much. And I love rugby as a sport, love watching it, but I just used to get fucking hammered because I was so small and light. I was quick when I got the ball.
Were you playing like fullback or on the wing or something?
If a lad ran into me, mate, I'd be fucking
hammered.
I'd go
Fair enough. So boxing was more natural.
I loved it. I loved boxing. I had a big brother who was always fighting, a little brother who was always play fighting. All the Van Damme movies, the Bruce Lee movies, just love fighting.
Yeah.
And when I was boxing, I just enjoyed it. The smell of the gloves, the colours of the bags, the lights in the gym, the warmth, sparring in the ring, sweating. Just loved it all. Skipping, just used to enjoy getting good at skipping. When you're a kid and you can skip, it's quite a bit, you can show off a little bit.
True.
Used to love all of it. Sparring mainly, I used to love the sparring because my older brother, 2 years older than me, my big brother, and the kids that I was at school with, people like Chris Duffield and Lee Kozleiki, all these old names that come into me, because you remember the names from school, don't you? Yeah. All bigger than me, all older than me, all sat on the bench around the ring, and you're waiting with your gum shield in your hand, and you're waiting to get picked. Right, Froch in, Chris Duffield in, and he's like 2 years older than me, heavier than me, and I'd be beating him up. Bang, bang, bang. And he'd get out and go, fucking hell, you done me there, kid.
It's got to be good for the ego,
and I used to love it. I used to love the boxing, and my big brother would be there as well. So like from a young age, that was from 8 years old, right through. I boxed till I was about 15, and then we moved to Newark. And then I didn't box for 4 years. I had 4 years out until I came back to Nottingham and got back into it at 19 years old. If you'd have saw me at 19, fucking tall, skinny, unfit.
Wouldn't have thought you were going to be who you turned out to be.
Never thought I'd have been.
I wonder if those 4 years out were kind of good for you in a way.
Potentially, because I was quite a late developer. I didn't get my strength till I was about 18, 19. And if I'd have kept boxing from 15, 16, 17, 18, a lot of fighters go into tournaments and national championships and ABAs. And when you get to 16 or 17, it's weight, it's not age. Right. When I was boxing, you've got to be within a year older of you, and you've got to be within the same weight. Or you've got to be the same weight, but within a year, a school year. Where when you're, I think, 16, you become a senior, an open senior. So you can be 16 years old fighting a 20-year-old bloke. But they're the same weight. but they've got an hairy chest and covered in tattoos. And you're looking at them thinking, fucking hell, he's bigger than me, he's got an hairy chest.
More experience as well.
But they're the same weight as you, but they've got that bit of man strength, so you get battered. So if that would have happened to me, that might have put me off the sport, and that would have been the end of me. But I had 4 years out, I was able to grow, develop, and then get that desire back for the sport. So everything for a reason, I believe. God had his plan for me, and he's never wrong. And my journey was to not box for 4 or 5 years, got back into it at 19, and I loved it. I got back into it on the back of watching Lennox Lewis and Prince Naseem Hamed and people like Benn and Eubank and even Frank Bruno against Tyson, even though he got beat. It's just that inspiring, like, where's Harry? And you know, the old boxing thing, and everyone was on it, wasn't they, back in the day? And that got me back into it at 19.
It all fell into place perfectly.
Exactly.
Really.
I was working, I wasn't earning much money at the local thing. I was at business and finance course, I had an office job. And I'm not earning much money. I'm thinking, I'm never going to get to where I want to get to. I'm never going to get that Ferrari. I'm never going to have the money doing what I'm doing. The path's not. How am I going to get there doing what I'm doing in the system?
So you found your own route.
So I thought, well, the only way I've got one shot, and that's boxing. So I got back into boxing at 19. I fucking went for it. And I enjoyed it though. When you enjoy something,
doesn't feel like work, does it?
Exactly.
Well, the next question was going to be, has it always been easy to show up for training? But by the sounds of it, you love training. So
I used to walk down the hill, Black Hill Drive in Gedlin. I used to walk down the hill, and Phoenix Boxing Club was there. And I'm walking down the hill, wrapping my hands, and I'm excited to get to the gym. I'm like, I want to get my hands wrapped so I can get straight in there, get on the rope. And I used to enjoy it. I used to go Monday, Wednesday, and I used to go Sunday as well, 3 times a week when I was an amateur, like from the age of 10, 11, 12. And then obviously when you get a bit older and you're in the tournaments, when I was come back as a senior at 19 years old, you win the ABA title, you win the ABA championships, you get picked to box for your country. So I got picked to box for England, and then really started enjoying it. So I thought, I've got an opportunity here to go to the Olympics.
I suppose, you're seeing that as the...
And I used to go to Crystal Palace, and David Hay was there, and a few other fighters that I'm still friends with now. And it just feels serious. You've got the England vest on, you're travelling around Europe, fighting in different multi-nations tournaments. So it's either... You're fighting Russians and people from Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan and like hard men, like they're 30, 31 years old, and you're only 19, 20.
Any Cubans as well there?
What's that?
Cubans?
Cubans, but mainly in the main tournaments. The one in obviously Eastern Europe we used to go around, and the Cubans, they'd come to the Worlds and the Olympics and just beat everyone up and go back to Cuba. Cubans were the best fighters in the world.
So George Rose was saying the other day,
they never go pro.
No.
So because they don't go pro, they are pro. They're 31, 32, 33-year-old men. Like Mario Kindlin, who beat Amir Khan in the Olympics. Khan got him back in the thing, but I think that was a fix. And Felix Savon, the heavyweight, some of the best fighters in the world. I boxed a guy called Louis Garcia, sparred him, and he was just unbelievably talented. Too good for me. Just way too good. I'm like, how's he not world champ? But he's in the Cuban regime. He fled Cuba actually, come to Ireland, and I sparred him in Ireland for my first world title. But then they start smoking or drinking, and they start getting on, they're like relaxing. They don't want it anymore. But some unbelievable talent.
I suppose if you defect from Cuba, you can't go back ever and be on a list of that.
So it's tough for them.
What about who inspired you the most back in the day? You mentioned some people there, and who inspires you now, still to this day?
I think inspiration to box and get back in the ring was definitely, without a doubt, Prince Naseem Hamed. Just because he was a showman.
He was.
Somersault the top rope, low guard, nonchalant, don't give a fuck, big uppercut, knock him out, have that, fucking hell. I mean, he was a good fighter until he met Barrera. First live fight I saw properly was Marco Antonio Barrera against Prince Naseem Hamed in Vegas. I was absolutely skinned. Topped out my credit card to get the flight. I think it was 700 quid. I lost my last $100 to a Mexican next to me with a $100 bet that Naz was going to beat Barrera. He had one off me, my mate Jason, and my brother Lee, and we all give him $100. We'll give it to this Scottish geezer. This big Scottish geezer was there. He goes, no, Naz will beat him. So we all give him 300 quid. We give him 100 each. And then the Mexican give him $300. He's going, your man's dead, you've got no chance, man. I was like, shut the fuck up. And all the way through the fight, it was blown down Miro. Your man lost that round, he's kicking his ass and all this. I'm like, you're right, he has, he's fucking hammered it. So that was that's how much I love. Now we stayed in the Circus Hotel as well. The cheapest hotel on the strip.
I've been to Vegas since I was about 7, so yeah.
No, have you not?
No, I want to go back there. Maybe
it's changed a lot now since you was there at 7.
I can imagine, Is there an art to what you do and how you do it? Is boxing an art for you?
Well, I suppose boxing is an art. It's the art of pugilism. And it's the ability to hit and not get hit, and the movement and the balance and the timing. So of course it is an art. It's like any martial art, whether it's jiu-jitsu, karate, taekwondo, even UFC, it's all an art.
It's creative as well.
It's a martial art. So boxing is a martial art, but for me, because I've done it from when I was a young age, there's natural ability, but then there's hard work. It's the old 10,000 hours thing. If you take a young lad at 8 years old and do 2-3 times a week in a boxing gym, he'll be able to throw a jab, a right and a left hook, body shots. He'll be fit 'cause his heart rate will drop. He'll be strong because he's doing his push-ups and sit-ups. He'll be in shape. But can he fight? You find out if you can fight when you get punched in the face. You find out if you want it or if you can take the punch. And if you don't mind the pain. And your ability to absorb punishment and want to still stand there and have a fight with somebody, for me, is based on what adversity you've been through before that point. So if you've had a privileged life like my son, and you go to a private school and you've got 2 little sisters, and you play golf, he still boxes. He goes to the gym and he boxes and he's in unbelievable shape. He's in better shape than what I was in at his age. Yeah. But that fight in the dog.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that comes from adversity.
It comes from my dad being in prison, having a big brother that used to batter me, and having street fights all the time, and growing up in pubs and standing in the door and working the door with my dad and getting in scrapes and getting out of scrapes. Yeah. And boxing since I was a kid and just being in there and enjoying it and loving it. And you know,
can't be taught, can it?
That desire to keep going, even when you're in the face of adversity, like you get dropped in a round and you sit down in your corner and you think, fucking hell, I don't like this. I don't want him to go out for the next round. This is hard. I'm getting battered here. He's too quick for me. He's just fucking dropped me for the first time in my career. I'm not thinking that. No, I'm thinking cheeky.
You're thinking
fucker,
revenge.
Fucking on the chin. Right, I'm going to get him back this round. And McCracken's going, no. Get behind your jab. Just box. Give him 3 or 4 rounds on your back foot. Work behind, as he comes, meet him as he comes, then get back on your bike. So I'm not thinking I want to go home, this is horrible, I'm not enjoying it. I'm thinking I want to get the fucker back. He's dropped me, I want to punch him in the face as hard as I can.
Born for it, built for it.
If you're not of that mindset, you're going to want to go home. Like Ryan Garcia when he fought Gervonta Davis. Ryan Garcia's got a massive following on social media. He's a bit of an Insta star. And he's a good fighter and he can punch hard, and I've got respect for him. But when he fought Gervonta Davis, who's from Baltimore, half of his mates are either dead or in prison. And he got out of that by boxing. He's a ruthless fucking killer. And when he's in that ring, he's trying to decapitate you. You obviously know who Tank Davis is.
Yeah, of course,
and then Ryan Garcia is a top fighter, really good skills, big puncher. But when he fought Davis, he had to go with Davis. Davis weathered the storm, got hit with shots. And as soon as Davis hit him to the body and Ryan Garcia went down, after he'd give it everything, Garcia thought to himself, I don't fucking fancy this. I don't want this anymore. And he stayed down for 9 seconds, the ref waved it off, and I thought, you just quit. Yeah. You've just fucking quit.
Spewed it.
And he'll probably learn from that, and he'll come back again. He's got the skills and the desire to come again. But the difference there was his upbringing. Of coming through adversity as a kid and being innate in your body, your mind and your heart. You can be a top amateur and be all the skills, all you need. But until you turn pro, you won't find out if you've got it up there and in there. That's true. And that's what you need. You need that, and you won't find out until you've got that. Until you get punched in the fucking face in round 6, and your legs go, and your eyes closed, and your nose is broken, your jaw's fucking hurting, and your right hand's smashed, so you can't use it, and you're still saying, "I'm still in this fight. The final bell ain't fucking gone yet. Get me back out there. I've got another 2-3 rounds to go." Like I did against Jermaine Taylor. I was beating every department. He was too fast for me, too skillful. He dropped me in round 3. It was the first time I've ever been on the floor in my career. And in round 10 and round 11, when I was going out, I was thinking, I've lost this fight on points. Like, I knew I'd lost on points.
So
I've got to stop him.
I've
got to get on him and stop him. And I'm walking forward, walking into shots, getting caught, thinking, fucking hell, getting to him though, still landing the odd shot. And you see what happened. Got him in the dying seconds of the last round.
One of the best finishes ever.
To do that, I mean, it just shows it's up there, isn't it?
Yeah, psychological. All right, one more question from Crown's Gym. If you hadn't followed sports for a profession, what would you have wanted to do and where would you have been? We were talking about your landlord skills earlier.
I used to love snooker, because I used to, in pubs, I used to play pool a lot, and then I got into playing snooker. I used to play poker, and I used to be fighting every weekend, street fighting. So scrapping, poker, and pool, and snooker. And that's what I do now. I play poker professionally, coin poker, crypto-based, blockchain technology, and I'm really enjoying it. And a bit of fighting, I can fight a little bit, and I can still play snooker. I'm a big snooker fan. Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, Ronnie O'Sullivan. I know Ronnie quite well. I sometimes go up to a local club. I was never that good at snooker, but I just used to love playing. I used to play pool, I used to play killer and play pool. I was in the pool team. But if I didn't box, I'd have probably, pretty much 100% joined the army. I was enlisted. I was sort of enlisted. I did the training. That's right. I did everything but actually go.
And, what stops you? What held you back from actually going? Boxing, I suppose.
Boxing. So I got back into boxing. I finished school. I was at college. I wasn't enjoying it. Doing a business and finance course. I thought, I've had enough of this, load of shit. But I was back in the boxing gym. Okay. And I could have been an army boxer.
They have the army versus the navy versus
the
Air
do.
Force,
When I lost the first ABA title as an amateur, I lost to a guy called Chris Bessie, who was an army champion. An Olympic, not Olympic, it was Commonwealth Games gold medalist. He won the ABAs about 4 or 5 times, and I fought him. So he's just floating around the world in the army, boxing. The army boxing, you get a great life. So I was thinking that's an option, but I'll never be a pro boxer if I do that.
Well, the army missed out.
I'll always be an army boy. And I'm glad I didn't join because I don't think I'd want to fight for this country anyway. Don't like the direction it's going. So they don't deserve my blood, sweat and tears.
It was a different time back then though.
It was different back then,
Yeah, fair enough.
But still, when you realise the corruption of it all and actually like if you start going into politics and not even conspiracy theories, the Iraq War, I mean Tony Blair and George Bush went to Afghanistan and Iraq in illegal wars. For weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist.
Never been held to account, have they?
Never been held to account. Well, Tony Blair got a knighthood. Should be in fucking prison. He's been knighted.
Crazy.
So that tells you all you need to know about the establishment. But let's not go conspiratorial.
Well,
that's not what this channel
is.
That,
but we are going to have a.
That's a really good segue to the next.
That's a good segue. You can tell he's a pro, can't you?
Let me have a drink.
He's a professional. Well, we were talking earlier. The JFK files. Obviously, a legend who was taken out in his prime, but. Was there more than one shooter? Was it the miracle shot that people talk about, Lee Harvey Oswald on top of the book depository, magic shot through the back of his throat? And then
bounced off the dashboard and went...
Was the same bullet, hit the FBI. No, it wasn't the FBI.
If anybody believes that a bullet went through the back of his neck, bounced off the dashboard, rebounded and then went through his fucking head, they need to go to the mental fucking hospital and have a word with somebody. Say, I actually believe this. But people do believe strange things when it's on mainstream media television.
To say it's far-fetched.
And the brainwashing box, to get told stuff and they believe the narrative. And for years and years, and I've had arguments with friends that have actually been to the place where it happened, where John F. Kennedy actually got shot. And they've said to me, I stood in that building where Lee Harvey Oswald, where the shooter was, and I've been up there and I've seen the whole tour. It definitely happened. And when you actually look at the facts now and look at some of the files that have been released by the CIA in America. And I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I'm quite well versed on the subject because I listen to a podcast called the PBD podcast, which is Patrick Bet-David and a few of his homeboys all sit around and debate. And they've looked at the files and there's no conclusive answer of actually what happened because there's 80,000 pages, pages and pages of information, so much stuff to go through.
2,200
But one
files.
thing's for sure, they now know there was 2 shooters. So if there's 2 shooters, the story of Lee Harvey Oswald in the 4th-story building, wherever he was, and the bullet that bounced back and got him for the head, that's a lie. So if they're lying about that and they're prepared to tell, and then Lee Harvey Oswald got shot, didn't he, by somebody as he was getting arrested or going to court.
That's right, 2 days later.
It's like, it just stinks inside job and lies and corruption. But the problem is, there's no conclusive ending to this. So no, right, it was shot by this guy, it was organised by this person in the CIA, and this happened, and that didn't happen. And the reason we can't say that, because it was 60 years ago, and everybody that was involved in that assassination, which wasn't assassination, that murder, the people that, I'll call it a murder, because that's my opinion. So the people that were involved in the murder of JFK, they've all died. They've all gone. Nobody, not one person is alive. Because even if they was in the 30s, they'll be in the 90s now. So anybody that could be held to account has passed on. So the only thing you can do now is draw a conclusion and say, yes, it was an inside job. It's looking likely that it was an inside job, even though there's no conclusive categorical this happened. We know that didn't happen. We know there wasn't one bullet that was phantom. We know it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. We know he was the scapegoat and then he got killed before he went to trial. But we don't know exactly what did happen and there's nobody to bring to account for it. There's nobody you can say, right, you helped and it's your fault because they're all dead. But one thing it does do, it puts distrust in the establishment and the system. So now the CIA as an establishment should be brought into account and be said, right, in this year when JFK was shot 60 years ago and this happened, this was your establishment, the CIA. So we need to look into it all now and reform it and see who controls it.
The fact the CIA hasn't changed to this day, still does question that.
So the public lose trust in authorities. But I think with the use of social media, with the opening up of X and free speech, I think a lot of people are starting to wake up. They're starting to realise and understand that actually we live in a parallel universe of smoke and mirrors and lies and corruption and propaganda. And you put on the mainstream media and they'll tell you A's B and B's C, and you'll go, hang on a minute, well A, B and C don't fucking work from what I've seen, it's actually X, Y, Z. That's total bullshit. You're expecting me to believe when actually in reality this is the truth.
Well, mainstream media consumption is decreasing at a faster rate than ever, isn't it? So there's so many more ways of getting your news.
Media and alternative news channels are now going. Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Jordan Peterson, the clinical psychologist from Canada. Even Joe Rogan does a good podcast, and Patrick Bet-David, they sit in the middle and expose the left and the right side of they try and be in the middle, don't they?
Yeah.
And try and be journalists and not take a side.
That's right.
But all these people like Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson, they're being cancelled and they're being
shadow banned and restricted.
And then people like Andrew Tate and Russell Brand.
Yeah.
It's like, why are all these people that have got an opinion? Ben Shapiro, I mean, he's a bit of a different example, but he's an example of somebody that they're trying to silence. Like, why aren't these people allowed to have an opinion?
Well, you mentioned Elon Musk there and X, and him, the way he's kind of using it for his own promotional purposes now. Yeah. Do you agree with that, or do you think he's taking it too far? Because he's kind of coming in for a lot of criticism. Sales of Tesla plummeting. Yeah. So well,
the thing is, you've always going to have an alternative side to the argument. And I think that what Elon Musk's done with Twitter is brilliant. He allows people to speak openly and freely. Yeah. It's the First Amendment. First Amendment is free speech.
By the way, he's using it himself, like his...
Yeah, he's promoting his product and doing whatever he's doing for himself, but why not? He's given everybody else the ability to have an opinion in a world that's now censored and monitored and corrupt as well, on so many levels. Whether you want to talk about the way that tax is spent in America and in England, the way they push narratives, whether it's BLM, LGBTQ, the woke agenda, we know it's an agenda because it's in the schools, it's in the television, it's in the media.
Massively.
Whether you agree or disagree with that opinion, you can see that it's actually happening. And the silencing of people like Jordan Peterson, who's a clinical psychologist from Canada, a very, very intelligent man, who's now blown up and gone massive on his own YouTube and podcast, since being cancelled for refusing to use fucking pronouns.
Yeah,
refuse to use pronouns in college.
Oh, mental.
If I see you as a boy, I'm going to call you a he.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You've got to call him a they, them. He said, no. Yeah. You're telling me I haven't got the right to free speech. You've got a right to be offended. I've got a right to speak freely.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you're offended, you're allowed to be offended. But that doesn't mean that I'm particularly coming for you to offend you, because the next person might not be offended. Yeah, if you're not being overtly offensive and shouting and swearing profanities, you can have an opinion on somebody, and that opinion should be taken. If you see somebody fat,
someone's opinion.
Say somebody's fat on a bus, and you whisper to your mate, he's overweight, or he's obese, he eats too much, he's taking up free seats.
That's offensive. It's obvious. Can't say that.
No, but it's not offensive because you're not shouting, oh, you fat cunt.
Yeah.
Stop eating.
Well, that's it.
That's out of order.
Yeah.
But if you say, that geezer over there is fat, he eats too much, watch what you eat, son, because you can end up like that. If you eat more calories than you burn, if you consume more calories than you burn, you'll get fat. But then the guy behind me hears it, and the guy behind me says, oh, that's out of order, you can't say that, I'm offended. And I say, listen, I'm having a private conversation with my son. Mind your own fucking business, all right? But you can't say that because he's offended.
Yeah.
So in the left-wing snowflake world, you've got to keep your mouth shut and not have your opinion in case you offend this prick.
Right.
Even though you're not telling the fat cunt to not eat. I'm being offensive now, I know, but it's my opinion. So it's happened, it has happened to someone very close to me on a bus.
Shit, right.
And I give my argument, and it was the guy I was defending got away with it.
Fair play.
But he was with his mate on the bus.
Yeah. But like you say though, if you're listening
and have an opinion, someone behind had a thing and then put a complaint in and said, that's why I'm using that as an example. So I went in and said, listen, this is what happened.
Okay. And
this person, I'm not going to say, has got a right to free speech. That's his opinion on this fat geezer.
Fair point, yeah.
And he's allowed an opinion because he's got free speech at the minute. We're still allowed to talk
right now,
openly and honestly about something. And if you're not overtly offensive, you're not shouting profanities, there's nothing wrong with that.
True.
So the person behind who's got offended, you're allowed to be offended. The person in front wasn't offended. The person in front says, yeah, I agree with you. You should go on a diet.
It's all perception, isn't it? It's just perceptive.
But on the television, the brainwash box, in the open media, they'll try and push whatever narrative they want to push and say, keep your mouth shut, close it. We don't want to hear your opinion because it doesn't align with our ideology.
Yeah.
And their ideology is a fucking bad one, especially when they're telling young men to cut the dick off. And I've gone too far now, but the LGBTQ push and the gender reassignment surgery on children, for me,
no, that's out of control.
Pisses me off.
That's out of control.
And it needs to stop. And the first thing Donald Trump did when he got in, he said, I'm going to stop that.
Yeah,
there are two genders.
I think most people are.
And anybody who says Donald Trump's wrong and he's out of order and he's not good for America, needs to give their head a wobble.
Yeah, no, I agreed. What about SpaceX trying to get to Mars? Do you think that's possible? Because I know you have your theories about whether we can actually leave the planet.
Mate, we need a sit-down podcast for 3 hours, and we need a spliff, and we need to go deep. That's what we need to do. We need a Joe Rogan.
That's the thing, when I see the questions, I know that there's no quick and easy answer to some of these. Because he reckons...
I don't know how to answer this about people saying Carl Froch is a flat earther, because I'm not a flat earther.
No, but you just haven't been high enough up in the sky to prove that the world is
I'll tell you what I am.
flat.
I'm very, very sceptical of anything that the governments tell us.
Yeah.
And in 1969, they told us that 4 astronauts stepped foot on the moon in 1969. But since then, 55 years has gone past or whatever it was, and we're still not being back. We've still not put man on the moon. And they've lost all the data, all the telemetric data that says they went to the moon.
But they say it's not worth the amount of money it would take.
But they've lost everything that they had. Yeah. It's conveniently vanished. They've lost all the footage, all the pictures, and all the data that tells you the speed they was going, how they broke through the atmosphere, how they got to the moon, how they landed the shuttle, how they took off. It's all gone. Because if they had it, it would be really, really easy to disprove and expose because of the current technology.
It's convenient.
So if you believe that they went to the moon and came back, and while they was on the moon, they had a conversation on a landline with President Nixon. I can't get a fucking signal in Burton Joyce. Right? In 2025. I've no signal on my phone.
Yeah.
Unless I hang out the top window and face it that way. Right. Yeah, he's having a conversation on the moon.
What network are you on?
I've changed from EE to O2 and it's a little bit better here, but then I've got no signal on my top. Okay. And they're putting up these big, absurd 5G towers everywhere and there's no signal. But I don't think they're for mobile phone signals, they're for future autonomous vehicles. That's what they'll be for, which will roll out over the next 5 to 10 years. Right. That's what they're for. They're not for mobile phone signals.
Interesting.
They'll tell us they are, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're for other purposes.
Maybe we'll expand on that on the next.
Well, it's not even a theory. You can find it on government websites.
Okay.
What a lot of these towers are for, and for the rollout of autonomous
so like
vehicles.
The ones they have in San Francisco, the ones that drive.
Yeah, driverless vehicles.
Yeah. Okay.
And future technology for AI.
Some of those videos are hilarious. So they can't turn right, can they? So there's a whole traffic jam of just the autonomous.
Oh really?
Vehicles.
I've not seen the problems with them.
Because obviously human beings will just
force
their way out.
In the next probably, I don't even think it'll be 10 years. Between 5 and 10 years, the world will be a totally different place. We've got another revolution coming, which is AI. And when that rolls out and becomes, already jobs are madly at stake now. Like when I've got a problem with any tenants, or if I need some legal questions answering, I just ask ChatGPT and it tells me instantly for free.
Very useful.
And I don't use my lawyer anymore for quite a lot of things.
Lawyer's not happy, but you're saving money.
I make lawyers, frontline workers, information like consultants. There's going to be so many jobs
just going down
where you're not going to need the people to do this job because you're just going to go on your phone. You're going to
have to rethink their careers.
You're going to ask AI, mate. Loads. The world's going to change massively. Again, Patrick Bet-David, AI. Get on the podcast. Have a listen to it. Open up your eyes.
Well, we've got more questions to talk about, but I think we should save them for the next time.
We ain't got long enough,
It's been an hour already.
We need a 3-hour sit-down podcast.
We do, one day.
A spliff.
Yeah, ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca now, you're too deep with the ayahuasca.
You can't do that, can you?
You're going straight to the spiritual worm if you get
purging all night. All right, well, Carl Froch, once again, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, man.
And we'll keep doing this next month.
It's always good fun,
Yeah, always good.